What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over the patch notes for Paragon. The Overprime going to be issued, I think, tonight on March 15th. So instead of just reading through all this, I am just going to show you inside the training grounds because I'm more of a visual learner than a reader. I'll be honest. First up on the buffs, I think it's gonna be Revenant. Last patch, he did receive a massive nerf. You already know that his instant reload got neutered. So the things to note with this Revenant change is that his basic attacks are now gonna shoot a little bit faster. So his attack speed was buffed, along with his R&B, which is Mortal Shot, which now deals more damage. So they increased it by at least double, it seems like. Almost double. Mortal Shot does 5% more physical power. Now it does 10% at level 1, which is crazy. Level 2 goes up to 30. Level 3, 50, 4, 70, and then 90, and then 110, which is actually insane. So overall, a massive buff to Mortal Shot. His Q is also seen a semi buff. It's slight, it's not that much. Also, the buffs were added to his later stages, so if you upgrade the ability to at least 3, that's when you see more damage, but it's not by much. I'll be honest, it's only by like 2. It's overall the same. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for Revenant Dispatch. Next up, we got Crunchy Boy. Alright, a hero that has just been added recently to the game. First thing that I see is that his right click, or his R&B, has seen a buff in dashing speed and distance, but it does not tell me the distance nor the dashing speed, which is weird. So both to his basic and his enhanced R&B both have been buffed. So these things are gonna go farther and they're gonna be quicker, essentially, is all you need to know about the dashes. Next thing they buffed with Crunch is his E. One thing to know with Crunch's E is that they did not buff his stun variation of this ability, but instead the uppercut, which is this one. So now that move is gonna pretty much gonna have a bigger range of hit. I think this is just like one of those quality of life changes with the uppercut. You're gonna be hitting them a lot more now. Also with the uppercut, it seems that the damage has been not really nerfed, but they did tweak the mid-game numbers quite a bit. It's not too significant though, in my opinion, so it's not much to worry about. And last thing they changed with Crunch is his Q. First off, they changed the cooldown, so now instead of 5 seconds, it will be 4.5 seconds. And his Q is also seen as speed buff, or casting buff, I should say. Casting speed buff. So now the Q will hit faster, pretty much. And I almost forgot, his ultimate has seen a massive buff in terms of cooldown adjustments. It used to be 35 seconds at level 1, 25, then 15. Now they have subtracted 10 seconds off of his ultimate cooldown. So now at level 1 it'll be 25, then 20, then 15. So overall, Crunch has seen a buff. Okay, next up we got Twin Blast, my boy. Recently I've been enjoying playing this character a whole lot, and right now it seems that he's been given another buff. To start off with his ultimate, the physical power coefficient, meaning to deal damage, has been increased, along with the area effect of the missiles has also been increased. If you want to know, the coefficient went from 0.5 to 0.8. And the area of the missiles has been upgraded from 80 to 110. Another thing they touched on Twin Blast is reverting his dash back to 10.5. It no longer does this 7.5 dash, as you see here. Now you'll probably go around here. So overall, a buff to his dash. So that's pretty much all you need to know about Twin Blast. It's his upgrade to his dash and his ultimate. Alright, up next is Wukong. Alright, with this monkey boy, his nimble R&B, which is his right click, the dash speed has increased. So if you see this, that movement pretty much has been increased. If you want to think about it, it's kind of like Decker's boost in mobility as of the recent patch. Probably going to be a lot quicker, probably resembling that of Decker's. And the other thing they changed with the R&B is that the damage output of the poke has now been increased in the later stages of the game by at least 5. So not that big of a buff. And another thing they change is his Q. The change with the Q is they increase the, I think, the attack animation for this thing right there. And they also increase his movement speed with this ability right here by at least 10% all throughout the board. And lastly, they changed up his E, so now they have increased the percents of his passive from 25 to 30, leaving more marks supposedly, as well as increasing the gold gained from the strike stance, and they also increased the health recovered from the nimble stance. And that's pretty much it with Wukong. Okay, next up we got Belica. It seems her bomb has seen an upgrade in area of damage, so this circle will be increased, and the range of the ability has also seen an increase. So now she'll be able to compete a bit better with like Gideons who have more range and other casters who have more range than her. That seems to be a quality of life adjustment for Belica, and probably gonna help a lot of newer players pick up this hero or learn her. Another thing that has been changed is her E, which is her commander's eye. Seems that the drone has increased in dishing out damage whenever the enemy uses an ability within the circle. I guess we'll see how effective the Watcher's Eye will be in this coming patch. The magical power coefficient has also been adjusted and has seen an increase from 0.4 to 0.55 in magical power. Next up, we got the least played mage in the game, Howitzer. They have increased the power to his Q missile once more. Also, another thing to note is that his mine has seen a increase in circumference, so the circle will be a bit bigger. Pretty significant. It's about a change of at least 200s. My guess it'll probably take up this whole 4 square thing, it looks like. So we'll see how these changes will affect Howitzer and see if more people start to pick him up. Next up, we got Aurora. I don't know why they buffed her, but let's get into it, I guess. One thing to note with Aurora is that her E has seen an increase in damage, speed of animation, and also the circumference of the circle has been increased, so it'll be a bigger area of effect. And that's all the changes to Aurora. Alright, next up we got Iggy and Scorch. Okay, with Iggy, his flaming oil canister has seen a buff to its level 1 stage, doing 5 more damage, but as you level up, it will be the same as it was, so only the first level of this ability has been buffed by 5. However, the magical power coefficient has been adjusted from 0.09 to 0.11, which is pretty good. Okay, one of the major changes to Iggy is his turrets. Okay, and the major thing to note with Iggy's turrets with this coming patch is that the health has been buffed by a little bit, as well as the magical damage. So yeah, overall, massive buff to turrets in terms of health and magical power. Not to mention that the magical coefficient has also been adjusted by at least 0.1 on the turrets, so increase to the turrets overall. Okay, and the last thing to mention about Iggy is that the ultimate is now been increased in terms of attack speed, and it's pretty much double of what you see now. It's pretty much what to expect with the turrets, or at least that's what I am assuming. I could be wrong, so keep that in mind, but I think the turret's ultimate will be doubled. Next hero that has seen a nerf is Muriel with her Glory of Ozine. This ability now cannot be procced through walls, so keep that in mind as you go into this patch playing Muriel. You can no longer use this shielding ability through walls. Another thing to note is that the E has seen a level 1 nerf in terms of putting 1 point into this. It no longer gives 70 shield, but now 60. I don't know if that's going to be pretty significant, but it's still Muriel. She's still busted. So, alright, next up we got Feng Mao. Feng Mao's E has seen a buff in terms of the later stages, where the buff kicks in at level 3 of the ability. So at level 3, the change went from 150 to 160, level 4, 195 to 205, and at level 5 to 240 to 250. So overall, the ability now does at least 10 more starting at level 3. Okay, and that's it for Feng Mao. Next up, we got Shinbei. So the major thing that happened with Shinbei this patch is her E, which is her Phantom Dance, which is this ability here. The mana cost has now been reduced. When you put 1 point into it, it no longer costs 120 mana. Now it costs 95 at level 1 and increases by 5 every time you put a point into it. So overall, this is a buff to Shinbei's E in terms of mana cost, and as well as the vamp given by this ability has been increased. So overall, she has seen a 0.5 increase in terms of vamp with this move. So we'll see how that affects Shinbei's gameplay, though it probably won't change by a whole lot. She's still busted. That's all I gotta say. Phase. Why? Bruh. Oh, God. Okay, so the thing with Phase is her Q has seen a buff in terms of damage outputs, starting once you put 3 points into this ability. So at this level, you will see at least 10 more magic power at base damage. Okay, given the buff to the Q, she's gonna have more damage output throughout the mid and the end game now, and not just the early game, which sucks. So yeah, that's the thing to note about Phase. Also, her ultimate, the knockback when you do it, has been increased from 5 meters to 6 meters. Okay, and lastly, we got Gadget. She, for whatever reason, has received a slight nerf, not by much, to her Q. Her bomb will now do 10 less damage at level 1. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Okay, that's going to conclude today's visual representation of the hero patch coming up tonight. If you did enjoy this type of video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Let me know if you want to see this type of video again in the next patch when Mako is released. Next time, I hope they change some items, because I think that could shake up the meta a bit more than just balancing heroes. So hopefully they change items, but yeah, I guess we get this for now. Okay, that would be all from me. Catch you guys next time. Yamo.